And this is the Ninja Legion. I'm Spider, and I'm here with another episode of Bagged and Boarded. Last week, Marvel had, or rather this week, last week, either or, Marvel had one event come to an end and one event start. We'll start off with the event that was coming to an end, and that was the Original Sin event, which was an 8-part series talking about who killed the Watcher. So it brings in a bunch of different superheroes from different teams. So you have people from the Defenders like Doctor Strange and Iron Fist, Reed Richards from Fantastic Four, Winter Soldier, Thor, Captain America, Rocket Raccoon's in there, and so is Gamora. Moon Knight's in it. So it was an interesting concept. The idea is that somebody went to the moon where the Watcher Uatu is, kills him and takes his eyes, also robbing his vaults from all these super powerful weapons. And it's the superheroes trying to figure out who did it. And it's them running all over the world, following clues. There's a few different villains that are in there, some mostly like C-list ones, like the Orb, who has an eyeball for a head, Dr. Midas, who I'm completely unfamiliar with, Exterminatrix. So they're all running around. Nick Fury is there. Then it's a little odd. It's a little bit kind of like at the beginning I was into it with the whole like figuring out this mystery, and the idea is that the Watcher has sat on the moon and just observed everything that's happened on Earth, and when they get a hold of his eyeballs, it unlocks all these secrets that people don't want to know. Everyone gets to see the truth. And it's unveiled certain secrets, acts that certain heroes may have done that people didn't know about, things that memories that people have repressed. And the one thing that it does do is it sets up for the female Thor, where Thor is deemed unworthy to wield Mjolnir, so a new person takes over. And you see that there's a fight when they're up in space, and all of a sudden Thor can no longer lift Mjolnir. So it sets up for that to happen. The idea was originally kind of neat to me. 8 issues was a little bit long for it. I felt like they probably could have done it in less. Maybe 4, like 6, maybe 4. The end of it was kind of unfulfilling. Like it wasn't this shocking, like, oh my god, like I can't believe it was such and such person. It was a little obvious, I guess. The other subplot, I guess, is that it's Nick Fury has been having this Watcher on the wall type role, where most of the Nick Furies that everybody sees have been life model decoys. So they're androids that look just like Nick Fury. Younger Nick Fury. So when they find Nick Fury on the moon, he's like this withered old man, and they're like, wait a minute, you're old? And he's like, well, yeah, all this time's passed. You didn't think it was suspicious that I didn't age at all? So it's him trying to find somebody to take up his mantle and replace him as the Watcher on the wall, the person who saves the world from all these threats that they don't even know exists, to do these dark deeds that need to be done, kill people and groups of people or things, aliens and such. So that's one of the things that gets set up through the whole thing. Not Marvel's greatest miniseries. Wasn't a huge fan of this one. If you want to check it out just because of it setting up the other events that are coming, whether it's the Axis event that's happening with Avengers and X-Men, or the new Thor series, then you can check it out. I'm sure they'll do a trade for it soon if you don't want to buy the individual issues or try to track them down. There were a bunch of individual issue tie-ins through the different series. There's Spider-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, X-Men that tie into it. And then there was the Original Sins mini-series that went in that had stories from some of these side characters that they didn't talk about in the main books that don't have an ongoing series. So going from the series that's ending to the series that's starting, we have Death of Wolverine #1. Marvel's been leading up to this one for a while. In the standalone Wolverine series, where they're like, 3 months to live, 2 months to live, 1 month to live, and you watch the covers as it shows him with his claws popped and skin flaying from his bones and claws being destroyed as it counted down to this series. It's a 4-part series, so it's pretty quick, short, simple. For those of you who don't follow it, Wolverine has lost his healing factor and is now capable of dying. There's all of Marvel's top scientists have been working on the case, whether it's Hank McCoy, Reed Richards, Hank Pym. Wolverine's been talking to them, trying to find a solution to this problem, why he lost his healing factor, a way to kick it back into working again. Luckily, he didn't lose any of his other powers. He still has his super sense of smell, increased hearing, strength, speed, just no healing factor. Unfortunately for him, when your body is full of metal, having an enhanced healing factor is sort of important. One of the things that like Reed Richards points out in this one, where he's going through a medical diagnosis, is if you had a really bad concussion, it could be a death sentence for you. Because for those of you who don't know, concussions are swelling in your brain, and if you have bad ones, normally what they do is they cut a chunk of your skull out to relieve that pressure. Wolverine has adamantium bones, so you can't really cut adamantium. So if he had a really bad concussion, he could just die from it. And there's people who die from bad concussions even with that, because people don't know about them, and the pressure inside of your brain can kill you. Other things that Wolverine's been exposed to a lot of radiation and toxic things, which his healing factors saved him from, but they mentioned specifically that he was there in the bombing of Nagasaki in Japan during World War II, and some of the radiation from the nuclear bomb going off has stayed inside of his adamantium bones. So now he's suffering from radiation poisoning, or can suffer from radiation poisoning, leukemia, all kinds of other really negative health problems because of having to go through all of that. So what this book sets up is Reed going, I'm going to continue to work on this. I'm going to try to figure out a cure for your healing factor being gone. In the meantime, lay low. I know you like to fight, you like to fight people, you like to go out in the world, but people are going to find out about this. People are going to hunt you down. People that want you dead are going to try to take advantage of you not having your healing factor anymore. So it shows him, he's out in the Canadian wilderness, as Wolverine frequently goes to when he wants to be alone and wants to be away from him, because there's lots and lots of places in Canada that you can go and get lost in and nobody will ever find you. Unfortunately, Wolverine is a creature of habit. He likes to drink, he likes to smoke, so people will go find local bars to try to track him down. And one person does that, named Nuke. I'm not familiar with that character. I'm not sure if he's been in other books before. I'm guessing that he has, because they don't really talk about who he is when he shows up. Wolverine seems to know who he is. But he has a small group of guys. He shows up to this bar and it's like, I know he's been in here. Tell me where he is. He's like, what has he told you? What's the information? And all the guy does is go, he just left me this to give to you. And it's basically a map and Wolverine taunting them saying, come get me. So they show up. They send the guy off to check out a boat, and Wolverine blows up the boat and kills that guy. Everybody jumps off the boat they're on, goes to swim for the shore. And two of the guys die in the water. The other, Nuke, makes it to, the non-important side characters die. Nuke makes it there. It starts to have a fight with Wolverine, picks him up, throws him. It's like, oh, I know that didn't hurt you that bad. You can get back up and keep fighting me, blah, 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 taunting him, I guess not realizing that he doesn't have his healing factor. But the thing that Nuke notices when he gets to the shore is that there's lots and lots of dead people there. Hand ninjas, AIM scientists, various other flunkies, military goons. So he's like, wow, this is serious. There's like a pile of bodies. And Wolverine explains, what happens with all of them. And through the fight with them, Wolverine basically is like, I'm going to show you mercy, but only because I want you to go tell everybody whatever they're, willing to pay you, it's not worth it. And he told him, you're the last person I'm going to let leave alive. Anybody else that shows up here, I will kill. Or the people that are trying to kill me will kill. Because when you have a bunch of factions fighting to kill a certain person, or to capture a certain person, because he finds out that the bounty on his head is for him to be brought in alive. They'll kill each other to try to get that bounty. It's also revealed who put the bounty on Wolverine's head, which I won't spoil for you, for those of you who are interested in doing it. Yeah. Well, no spoiler alerts. Just not gonna spoil it. The thing to note with this, it's actually kind of going back to 90s a little bit. It's got like very foily kind of cover to it. A cutout of Wolverine in costume showing Wolverine out of costume with the target pointing at him. My only qualm with this book, the art's really nice in it, which is a plus. It's written very well. They count it as being like a special bonus content issue. So it has a more premium comic book price of $5. But the bonus content is half of the book. The story gets to here, which is pretty small for a comic. I guess the only good thing is that I didn't see many ads until the end where Marvel is advertising for their stuff. But the bonus material is just storyboards, basically. It's a little bit of sketches that they show. The artist Steve Niven explaining those sketches, and then it's storyboard. Here's a little bit of how Wolverine came to be. They show some pages from his first appearance in The Incredible Hulk. So it's a lot of that I'm just like, I'd rather have just bought the regular book and not gotten all the fluff that they don't give you the option for. It's kind of like when they did Amazing Spider-Man #1 and they're like, oh, bonus, you get Inhuman #1 too, but the book was an $8 book, so you're paying for Inhuman #1 and Spider-Man #1. It's a little more content than necessarily needed. They can just give you that. There's been a lot of variants for this book. It's been pretty highly sought after. A lot of people are interested in checking this one out. I'd advise checking it out too, just to find out what happens with Wolverine. The one interesting thing, they do an interview with the writer, one of the writers in the back, and he pretty much clearly states that he's coming back. It's Wolverine. He's a major character. He makes Marvel a ton of money. You know that eventually Wolverine's going to come back in some way, but he's like, you have to enjoy the ride in between. Steve Rogers, Captain America, was assassinated a number of years ago. You knew they were going to bring him back, but in between that time, you got to see somebody else take up the Captain America mantle, see where they go with it, and enjoy that story. He mentioned Peter Parker going away and Doc Ock taking that over for Superior Spider-Man. He's like, I really love that book. I would argue all day with that guy about how it was awful, but diehard Spider-Man fan, so I'm going to have a different opinion than probably a lot of people do. There's lots of other cool books out on the shelves right now. Saga's still going pretty strong. They're up to issue 22, I believe. That's a for adults title. I actually had a conversation with somebody who bought it for his daughter and didn't realize that it has lots of graphic sex in it and violence. Not appropriate for teenagers. Some of the other series that are running strong, you got Magneto, the standalone series running strong. That's been a really enjoyable read so far. Definitely would advise checking that one out if you're a fan of Magneto. But yeah, so I'll be getting the other Death of Wolverines. We'll do some other bagged and boarded issues in the future where we talk about that event and what actually ends up happening to Logan, how he dies, who actually does it, who put the bounty out on his head. So check back in with us. Also, the Marvel Access event is going to be gearing up where the Avengers and the X-Men have to team up to take down Red Skull and a team of other supervillains. So that's preliminary issues for that are this month, a couple of tie-in lead-up ones, and the actual event starts in October. So when that comes out, I'll be reading that and can get back to you and let you know a little bit about that as well. So I think that just about does it for this episode of Bagged and Boarded. Thank you for tuning in. Check out all of our other shows at theninjalegion.com or our YouTube channel. Just search the Ninja Legion there. I'm Spider, and thanks for watching.